computer.
Hey everyone, it's so nice to be here on this Wednesday. I know in the Chicagoland area it's kind of cold outside, but I just want to say, and I just speak for anybody that's going through this, I finally tested negative for COVID yesterday.
Yay!
And I
Woof,
feel like
woof.
yay, I feel like I got a new year started now. Like today is my new year because I blew through all that being said. But just with that, I just want to say we have a special guest on today, I should say, that is just like part of the new year. Let's get our houses organized and, but with that, I am going to introduce you and I talk to Debbie, and Debbie's going to talk about our guest. So with that, Debbie, go on. Thanks.
Well, I'm so excited because not only is Kim is a really good friend of mine and now has become a friend of Lori's and stuff, but I'm so excited because I want to just make a note that Kim, we had you on here as our very first interview many moons ago, okay? And we were at basically a few followers, okay? And now we're approaching 615-ish followers on this group, and then this group always shares out to so many others. So we're always touching a ton of people. Yeah. And I want to say that we're excited because this is a new year for all of us. We're still in January. You can start fresh every single day. You don't have to have it be the new year, but Kim's got some great, really down to the basic ideas that she's always inspired me with. Okay. She inspires me all the time, every time I talk to her, because she's got so many things going on and she keeps it together. And she is local in our area. Okay. So if anybody knows people or you're interested in her services, she's going to explain all this stuff, but she's going to give us some of the basics. And with that, Kim, I want to say, Kim, from the De-Clutter box locally here in Westmont, Illinois, take it away, lady. You're a rock star in this area.
Yes. Oh, well, thank you so much. I've been doing this for 28 years. Isn't that crazy? Yeah. I actually was born to organize, though. Everybody's given a little gift in life. Then that's the little dot in my brain that just brings me happiness, but also brings other people order. And so I love the fact that now I can share it with others and take them from being overwhelmed to being overjoyed. And actually, it is so awesome to be, it is actually, I think, 2 years, because I believe we did this 2 years ago, January, for Get Organized Month. Mm-hmm. The month of January is when we have new gifts that we've received. We put up the tree. We really need to look at the stuff we have and ask ourselves, do we use it? Do we need it, or do we enjoy it? And I always suggest to people to put a handled shopping bag in a central location on each floor. If that's the only thing you're going to do, you're still going to declutter. Because when you come across things that you say don't fit into that category, don't use it, don't need it, maybe you do enjoy it. Could you take a picture of it and enjoy it that way? Could I pass it on? What I did with some of my Christmas decorations, because both my children have moved, they have their own places. I said, hey, tell me what you want, take it. And what happens is I enjoy it at their house. And I really do think it's kind of neat to see the sweet little things put in different places at their house. I had a customer a long time ago, an older lady that I worked with once a week, actually. And I had this beautiful scarf, and finally I thought she loves scarves. Passed it on to her, and she wore it every time we went out, and I got to enjoy it on her. So if you want to pass it along to somebody else, your neighbor, always make sure it's not something that they're going to think is unuseful. So use, need, and enjoy. I tell people also, this is the time to actually schedule time to do something. So besides the handled shopping bags, and as you're going around the house, putting things you don't use, you want to look at, is there a space in your home that just makes you overwhelmed? Maybe you avoid the office or the desk. Check and see if even the lighting is good in that space. A lot of times I work with people, they might only have an overhead light and only one light bulb out of 3 working. They avoid that space, and then it becomes the dumping ground. So what you want to see, if the light is not good, put a couple lamps in there. When you go into a hotel room, There's always a lamp on either side of the big furniture, and on the bottom center of the bed or couch or whatever it may be, there's a lamp. It's called triangle lighting. That's the perfect lighting for any room, even if you have overhead lighting. And that lighting invites you into the space. It makes a huge difference and makes you want to go in there, makes you want to work in the space. When it's dark, like I said, it becomes the dumping ground. A lot of basements, very dark. What happens? It becomes the dumping ground. When you decide to do something, maybe pick just the corner of the room, allocate time. Some people love putting a timer on. If you have a rough time working by yourself to stay put in one area, see if you can have one of your kids, one of your friends, your significant other. If there's heavy stuff that needs to go up and down the stairs to get rid of it. When you work with somebody else, that kind of keeps you in place. Some people have a hard time though doing, it's not fun. For me, it's fun. I look at it and it's a puzzle and I'm putting the puzzle pieces together.
Okay.
For other people, it is very, very not only overwhelming, but just tiring. So put on some upbeat music when you decide to clutter. If we're going to do the closet, you know, pull out maybe just all your pants at one time, weed through, see what you wear, see if there's any with holes, anything you want to pass on. Is it still in style? Then you go on to the next category. Maybe it's sleeveless shirts, and then it's summer shirts, and it's winter shirts. Break it up into little increments. When you're dealing with the room, I always suggest to look at that room and make a purpose for each corner. Typically, a room has the door, and then it has 3 corners. So if we're in a bedroom, one corner is your dressing corner. You have the closet, put your dresser if you can in that corner. The next corner, you may read when you're in bed, or some other activities. So go put that on your nightstand. Make sure the lighting is good. What I call that is kindergarten setup of a space. So if you can go back to when you were in kindergarten, each corner of the room had a purpose. And when you came in, you always knew what your spot was, where to put your coat, and where to put your backpack. So again, make sure when you walk in the door of your home, there is an immediate spot where you can put the items that you're taking off. Then you walk into that classroom. There was a play area. A lot of times there was a kitchen. The next corner is where you sat down with the teacher and you did attendance and she read to you, kind of the quiet corner. And then there was a corner where you could get messy. Usually there were some easels and you could paint. And the last corner's purpose was where you sat down at your desk and you learned your ABCs and how to write. So in every room you have, there should be a purpose for each corner. And when you come into that space or even into your house, you say, I know exactly where the items should go, and where you're going to look for it, you know where to find it. So not just in your living room or bedroom, but in every room in the house. Even the kitchen, look at the pantry. You have 5 shelves in that pantry. Each shelf should have a purpose. And the middle shelf or your eye level shelf is what I call prime real estate. So those are the things that you want to read on a regular basis. You want to read the labels. Then you're looking at usually putting canned goods there because we're reading the labels, maybe your condiments. Then say, how do I use things? If I do not bake that often, maybe that's the top shelf, but make it a broad category. So we have baking, we have canned goods, we might have beverages, we have breakfast, we have snacks. If you have a animal, then you have a shelf maybe for their food and equipment. Every shelf and drawer in your home should have a purpose. So you're keeping like things together. And the other part of that is you want to keep it close to where you're using it. So if you use it on a regular basis in your kitchen, then put it near the stove. If you're cooking with it, put it under the sink if it's something for cleaning. Keep like things together and close to where you use it. So I call it the De-Clutter 10. There's 10 tips that I have. Those are a couple of them, but do you guys have any questions for me?
Gosh,
I know you're trying to kick off the new year.
yeah, well, I think you make everything so simple, but it's true about pumping up the music and kind of getting in that mood, you know, so that you get your mindset right, because you can conquer and take little sections. Don't feel like you have to go into. I love that. Lori, do you have any questions?
Well, I just want to say, I just love all your ideas. I love your website. It's amazing. I was just looking at everything and I was like, everything makes sense. And you had the before and after pictures, which were really awesome. So we'll make sure we put all that information on so people could look at it. But, is there any way, because I know my kids I have grandchildren, so they have children, to motivate children to be involved in what you're doing as far as especially decluttering?
I think you have to look first at the right time of day.
Okay.
If you are involving the family, you want to prepare them beforehand. A good example that it's a space where everyone would use it, maybe the garage in the springtime. So beforehand, look at your garage. Say, do I have storage space? I know there's going to be garbage. We're going to pull everything out of the garage and make a pile for garbage. And then again, even when you're pulling it out into the driveway, the stuff, you're going to have area for all the gardening stuff, an area for all the kids' toys, an area for maybe sports like golf, maybe auto parts or the workbench. So you're getting the whole family involved. You want to set up a time frame. You're going to stick to that time frame, maybe from 9 to noon. Let them know that this is what you'd like to accomplish, and then always reward afterwards so that people will be more likely to say yes the next time you want to do something. So we're tackling the garage. The kids, really their area are the toys. Right. So have them pull out the toys and see what's garbage. They make that choice. What do they want to keep? If they're different ages, some things they've outgrown. When you give them that ability to make choices of what they want to keep, and you respect the fact that of what they're pitching away, that makes them feel more important.
Right. Yeah.
And then with your spouse, okay, make your spouse the workbench area if he is the person that takes care of that area. And then once you have pulled everything out, you've decided what is garbage. If you felt that you needed shelving, this is the time to broom out the garage, put the shelving into each corner. Each shelf has a purpose. Explain that to your family as people start putting things back into that space. So the younger child might put things on the lower shelf. Okay. If the children are all teens, then what makes sense? Maybe the heavier items are on that lower shelf, skates. And then on the higher shelf, because usually it's hard to grab, would be maybe the things you only use once a year.
Okay.
So I have a purpose for each shelf. Really, your home and all your space in your home is like your own department store. Okay. So on that toy shelf, you're going to say, what is the purpose? Think of the grocery aisle and how they break down each aisle at the grocery store. Or you go to Walmart. Each corner in Walmart of that store has a different purpose. Then you walk down the aisle and you'll see things divided up into different parts of tools or clothes, or a rack of blouses, a rack of pants or whatever. They have it broken up into different categories, and that's really what you want to do in your own home as well. Again, you're setting this up so it's going to be easy for you to find what you need, and easy for you when you're bringing something new in to know where to put it. And then if it's the husband's sports, if he golfs a lot, make sure you put that sports stuff near the back of the car where his trunk is to throw the clubs in. Good. Keep in mind, you may rotate the snow blower and the lawnmower. Again, keep things close to where you use them, but have people buy in. If you want to do it with your child in their bedroom, again, you're going to ask them and respect what they are telling you. Some people who are very overwhelmed, it's hard to focus when you have a lot of clutter. Look at your child and say, do they struggle a little bit with ADD or ADHD? When they look at that clutter, they have no idea what to do. So if you can separate out the books from the clothes, or even, tops and bottoms, and go through, and if you individually hold up things for them, then they can make those decisions. A big pile of stuff is very overwhelming. So you got to be more specific in what you're asking them to do. And they're not going to work with you because they just don't know where to start. If I tell my child clean up their room, what does that mean? If I say, please put all your shoes on the floor in your closet, it's very clear. And it's easier to be able to do that. Please put your clothes on a hanger and put the pants on the lower rod and the shirts on the upper rod we have in your closet. Maybe it's labeling the dresser drawers so they understand, if they can read. Maybe it's putting pictures on the dresser drawers if they're little people who aren't able to read. So you really have to look at the capabilities of your child, how they process other things in life to get them involved. And again, always stick to that set time frame. Can they do it for 20 minutes? Can they do it for an hour? And reward them and praise them for following through on this. That is the key there, is to stick to your time frame and praise them. Yes, you put all the books away. Could be a 2-year-old.
Right.
Every time you're doing that, you are motivating them to do it again.
That's awesome.
What other questions might you have?
Well, I just want to know, this is kind of random, but how long does it take an average person to get their house? Like if you come in there and help them get themselves organized, is it 1 time, 2 times? Or I guess it all depends on the house, but I was just wondering so people would know an average of what it would take for you to come in there and help them.
Sure. What I do is I work one-on-one, usually with the person that uses that space. If it is just the husband using the office space, I need to work with him, not the wife, because she does not know how he operates in that space completely. Does he use the drawers? Is he right-brained? Is he left-brained? So number one is I want to work with the person that maybe cooks or uses that space on a regular basis. If it's something like the basement, you can pull in other people. But again, depending on how packed that basement is, if we got boxes of stuff going on and stuff all over the floor, it's going to take a longer amount of time. And sometimes I will bring my assistant in to work with us as well, who can take things upstairs that we want to get rid of, help move the garbage along so we can focus on what you actually want to keep. Normally, though, a standard size kitchen takes a 5-hour day of working together. We're going through each cabinet. We're putting like things together, and we're putting things close to where you use them. We're weeding out the things you no longer use. We actually, when you get into some of those lower cabinets, sometimes you can find those car keys you lost, or some fun things, an appliance or something mom gave you that you're like, I have no clue as to what to do. We always want to make sure there's a bag for garbage, there's a bag or a box for donation, so that we're really not leaving that space. The key is that we don't leave that space. And when we take a break, we know we're meeting up there in 5 more minutes. But keeping things close to where you use them. Sometimes people don't have the coffee maker near the sink where you're going to need water, and the coffee cups aren't above, and water glasses aren't close to the sink, and things that you take out of the dishwasher on a regular basis, that should be in cupboards near the dishwasher. Again, things you cook with and use on a regular basis. You don't want to have all your pots and pans in the pantry if these 2 or 3 pots and pans you use on a regular basis. So keep things close to where you use them. A lot of times I go into people's kitchens and the whole right-hand cupboard above the counter is full of spices. And I'll say, do you use all these spices? Well, no, but that's what mom had set up. So we look at the baking spices, maybe bag them up. Or maybe there's a special recipe you make for chili and there's 10 spices, bag them up in a Ziploc bag, put them with the chili beans. The baking spices put on your baking shelf. Whenever you look for the purpose of the shelf, think of a broad but specific category, just like you find in the grocery store when you're doing that.
That's awesome.
So
usually 5 hours. 5 hours runs $350. And really what we're doing is we're taking you from overwhelm. Now you know exactly where things are. We do label things. Sometimes people keep the labels on forever. And sometimes those labels just help you remember. Usually 21 days creates a habit. So it may be a week or 2 that you keep. We can use sticky notes, we use painter's tape, we can make regular professional labels if you really like the idea. But you're not just communicating with the person that you're organizing with, you're also communicating with the rest of the people that live in that space, because that's how you're going to maintain it. When I am organizing with a person, we want to make sure it's going to be easy to maintain. And that's why we're labeling things. And then if you have other people in the home, we want to communicate them first. We organize the kitchen today. We want to maintain it. You're going to find there's labels there so you know where to find things. And so you need the whole family to help in that process.
Okay, well, I have one last question.
Already.
I appreciate all your answers. They're awesome. And it gets me even more motivated. I come from the disability world, okay, because I'm disabled. And a lot of people that follow me because of that. But disability people have to have their houses organized completely a different way because they're either in wheelchairs or walkers or whatever.
Right.
I know I need this in my house. I haven't done it yet, but being organized so you could reach things and everything in the house. You work with people like that, correct?
Yes. And we're looking at the prime real estate then being a little bit lower, but eye level for if you're sitting there. Do you use a gripper to grab things from upper shelves, but we want to put things that don't break? So we're, again, anytime that I am organizing with somebody, I'm tailoring it to their specific needs. And when I come in, I do ask a lot of questions.
Right.
And we're looking at what is important when you come in the door of that space. What do you need there? We're making sure that wherever we're putting things, there's enough room to get around in that space. And again, we're trying to communicate to anybody else who might be with you in that space or use that space. Again, if you live with somebody, the upper space might be theirs, the lower space yours. It all depends on your needs. And that's why you'll find I ask a lot of questions when we start out.
Sounds great. I appreciate the answers because there's a lot of people, when you have disabilities, you can't even do a lot of the organizing yourself because you're not capable, depending on how bad you are. So having somebody come in like you to organize, to have it at the levels that, because everything's different. It's
right.
totally different. So I appreciate that.
Each person, are you right-handed? Are you left-handed? What do you use the most? You know, that's what we want to make most convenient. So definitely, and there are a lot of people, I love working with seniors, but they struggle as well. And then once in a while, I get a feisty senior who decides at 85, they're going to climb on the ladder and take their drapes down themselves. And oh my God,
Right.
I'm a nervous wreck then. I'm there to help them. And I don't want anybody to ever get hurt. We're trying to make it a safe atmosphere for you, as well as a space that you love to go into because it has good lighting, because where things are placed makes sense and make life easy for you. We're trying to take away that overwhelm. A lot of times paperwork is what overwhelms people the most. So if somebody has lost their significant other, and that significant other was in charge of the paperwork and taxes and going through the mail, sometimes people don't know what to keep and what not to keep. So we're trying to make sense out of that for them. It's what I call flat surface disease, when they're trying to make sure they can see everything they have, but the couch and the tables and the counters are all covered with stuff. We want to make sense and make it safe for them. And it's an adjustment, but once we work at it, and I repeat things also, some of the tips. File, don't pile is of course my favorite. When it comes to maximizing space, and if we have limited space, you know, if you put a cereal box down flat and it's like a gift box on the table, it's going to eat up 12 inches of space, 12 by 12. If you put it on its side, it's going to only eat up 4 inches of space, but maybe 12 inches long because it's laying on its long side. If you take that cereal box and you turn it over like it is on the grocery shelf, but you line it up like a library book in your cupboard, so you just see the side of it, then you're going to maximize your space. So I tell people, look at doing that with their paperwork. And the paperwork that comes in on a regular basis, what you want to do is get a shoebox sized container. That's a container that's easy to maintain what's in there, and put your papers and mail that is coming in that you have not pitched out into that box. If the kids come home with their homework, put it into that box. Then you have one spot to look for any paperwork. And when you have it standing up, you can easily flip through that paperwork and find what you want. And then while you're doing that, make sure that box is near the garbage can, because every time you flip through to look for something, you're going to find things that can be recycled. And that's an easy way to maintain paperwork. When you have flat surface disease, I'm going to have you sitting there going through your paperwork. I will get rid of those commercial breaks that come, you know, every month, those ads. Sometimes the magazines we're done with. But then I'm going to give you the important paperwork to flip through and decide what you want to keep and what you don't. And then from there, we set up a filing system with very broad but specific categories, so that when you go to look for something, you can easily find it. When something comes in, you know where to put it.
Sounds great.
Well, I'm excited. I think we've covered so much, such a broad spectrum, more than I think, you know, a lot of people, you've hit on everything. Every person who is going to view this is going to relate to something that you touched on, which I think is really awesome. And so I'm real excited that we're going to be able to share this all over the place. And Kim, we're going to ask too that, you know, I know we have your information, but if you can, at the bottom of like our lives where we're going to post everything, if you have any other additional places you want to have people know to be able to access you and find you, please attach that on there. We're real super excited. If you can share us everywhere. I know we're on the time, we're about 11:30 or like half hour right now. So we're going to close out. We're completely stoked about everything that you sent here and everything that you said. And with that, Lori, do you want to just close us out?
I sure do.
Let me just add, can I add one little thing?
Sure.
Make sure you go to my website, declutterbox.com. But on there we have a declutter calendar for a month. You can pick the days you want to do things, but it's the Declutter 30-day challenge.
Okay.
And on there, we also have some tips about getting organized. And like you said, before and after pictures.
Yeah.
We've been real simple. We've been in Women's Day. We've been on ABC, NBC, some different places. So you can look at the videos or the articles that we've been in. That may be the way I describe things. When you read an article, it might hit you even better. Because like I said, everybody communicates and processes things differently. I just found out, you know what? I talk to myself, and there's a reason. I process it better when I hear it.
Okay,
So
that's
we
good.
all want to, and
That's
there's a
good.
lot of people like me.
Yeah, I'm the same way, I have to admit. So, yeah, so Deb, you want me to close out? Oh, yes.
If you want to, please, yeah. And also, yeah, all I'm gonna say is, please, everybody, just follow us for the health and wellness of you on our YouTube page and also on our page. And Lori, yeah, close us out.
Okay, I just want to say thank you, Kim. It was wonderful. I just love talking to you and reading your webpage and everything. And I just want to tell everybody, have an awesome day. Go out, enjoy your family. I know it's cold. If you want to stay in the house, have some hot chocolate, read a favorite magazine, and just enjoy your life. And Deb and I will see you on Friday. So with Friends Helping Friends. Thanks again, everyone. Have a good day. Bye-bye.
Thanks, guys. Thank you so much, Kim. Thank you.